Like I say, shouts out to all the brothers and sisters out there in social media land. This is indeed a great day to be alive. This is a day that the Most High have made. We should find a way to rejoice and be exceedingly glad in it. On today, we're not going to deal with the scripture from the standpoint of religious construct. That means that we're not going to be dealing with the Bible from the standpoint of Christianity, and we're not going to be dealing with the Bible from the standpoint of Israelite heritage. We're not going to be dealing with the Bible from the standpoint of Islam. We're going to be dealing with the Bible from the standpoint of real life. Because there is nothing about the Bible or the Holy Scrolls that has anything to do with religion. And so there's some misnomers that need to break. The Bible does not belong to Christianity. The Bible don't belong to Israelite heritage neither. The Bible don't belong to Israel. Because there were things that were being written down concerning the wonderful things that the Most High was doing long before Israel ever came into existence. And so we want to hash them particular thoughts out of the way right off the bat. So we're going to deal with something today that is going to directly affect all of us as a people, namely as a people. And I really want to be stressing to my brothers and sisters, those brothers and sisters that are of Negroid descent, because what we're going to deal with today is a struggle that you only see taking place with the Negro. And that is dealing with our family structure. That's dealing with husbandry, and that's dealing with wifely responsibilities, dealing with the family unit as a whole. Okay, so it's too many people talking about the Most High. It's too many people talking about Jesus. It's too many people talking about God. But at the same time, when we look at the condition of the family structure, we can see that the Father's righteousness is not being exemplified in those particular areas, no matter what we make in our mouths say. I'd like to send shouts out to my Kansas City brothers. I had the pleasure of running into one of my Kansas City brothers on this weekend. And I won't call him by name because I don't have the permission to call nobody by name, but I can use the conversation and the example. And I was stressing to him that I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I had ran into his brother. And we went to school together. Me and his sister went to school together. Me and his brother was probably a year or two younger, but I was talking to his brother, and I was asking his brother about him. And he said his brother was doing well. Well, I had the pleasure to run into him on the weekend at a picnic. And I was telling him that me and his brother had gotten into a conversation, and then his name came up. And I wanted to just commend him, because I was asking him how his wife was doing. He said she was doing fine. And then I stopped and I asked him, how long have him and his wife been together? Because he was telling me that I know you might not see me, I might not respond, but I be seeing the videos. And I was telling him, he said, me and my wife, we've been together now for 40 years. And I remember, because they a little bit older than me, and his wife is one of my sister's close friends that they used to work together. But I remember when I was younger, I would see them. They was high school sweethearts. And boy, I told him 40 years is one of the greatest exemplifications of God's righteousness that could ever be put forth in this world. The ability to move through life and still be maintaining with the wife of your youth and the husband of your youth Man, it don't get no better than that. It don't get no better than that. And so Will's going to have to deal with these situations sooner or later. Every time we turn on the TV, we see young men getting shot, and we blame the police, and we blame the law structure and everything, but, at the end of the day, we're going to have to get a mirror, and we're going to have to start looking at the personal accountability of men and women, you see? Because the Chinese man don't have that problem with the Chinese woman. The Chinese woman don't have that problem with the Chinese man. Many of the European people, they don't have those problems neither. Every other nation have found a way to maintain their family structure. I'm talking about husband, wives, children. Though, yeah, divorce can happen to anybody at any given time, but not on the mass scale that it happens to us. And the problem with us is that we like to blame too many things. Well, the Willie Lynch letter. Well, the Willie Lynch letter was written 400 years ago. You see? When a child is born in this world, like Grandmaster Flash said, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. God's smiling on you, but he's frowning too, because only God knows what you'll go through. You see? So to make excuses for what happened 400 years ago, that ain't gonna get it. You see? So, and when we start dealing with women and men, it's always a blame game going on. You can't deal with the men because the men gonna start looking at everything that the women ain't doing. You try to deal with the women gonna start looking at everything that the men ain't doing. But I don't give a cop about none of that. I'm not talking about you looking at what the man ain't doing. I'm talking about what you looking at what God expects of you. I'm not talking about you looking at what the woman ain't doing. Well, it's hard to find good women out. Man, ain't nobody trying to hear that foolishness. What I'm talking about is how do you look up against what God is expecting from you? Because when the man can start living up to the things that God is expecting of him, and then women can start living up to the things that God is expecting of them, then you know what? All that blame game don't go out the window. See, it used to be a time that a woman would take her baby and fall over a slave ship and drown, rather drown in the sea than for her child to be subjected to that type of foolishness. Now a woman has just tossed the baby over the sea so that she can have the freedom to do whatever it is that she want to do with her life. I know what I'm talking about because it's as many babies aborted, many black babies aborted in 2 weeks' time than all the men that died in the Vietnam War on both sides put together. And those things come at the hands of our sisters. But they also come at the hands of our brothers. It was a time that a man would jump in front of a speeding bullet, that a man would be beat to death, that a man would hold his breath just so that his child can be protected. Now a man will throw his child in front of the bullet that the police is shooting. You know the reason why the police is shooting the bullet and killing the kid is because there ain't no man to jump in front of it. But if it was a man standing there, you understand what I'm saying, to put some fear in the one that's doing it, then you ain't got to worry about your children coming up dead. But the problem is that we got such a problem with each other to where our family structure have become the least of important things. So the only way men view women now as, oh, this bitch, I don't love these hoes, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know what? If you feel like that about the woman, then you got to feel that way about your mama. Because if you're going to call the woman a bitch, you got to be classifying your mama a bitch. If you're calling your woman a hoe, you got to be classifying your grandma as a hoe. The same ones that were responsible for you being here. And it's the same thing with women. Oh, God, these niggas ain't nothing. These niggas ain't nothing. Well, you know what? No, they ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. Because you don't know who you are. And you don't know what's expected of you. You don't know what God expects of you. So you say that a nigga ain't shit because he don't want you dancing on no tabletop, wants you to put some clothes on your back, wants you to take the hair weave out and be content with who you are. You say a nigga ain't nothing, you don't need no man, because a man gonna tell you take them fake eyelashes off, and you don't need to be having no alterations done to your body, and who are you doing it for anyway? You ain't doing it for me. I'm content with you like you are. See, women don't want no man. Because a man is supposed to instruct a woman as to how she's supposed to conduct herself. That's his leadership responsibility. But you don't want no leadership, so you can be able to do whatever you want to do. And men, at the same time, you can't keep no woman because you don't want the responsibility that comes with taking care of them. I ain't taking care of no other niggas, baby. I ain't taking care of no other niggas, baby. Well, you know what? You're a fool. Because you're another man's baby, yet the Most High make sure that he clothes and he feeds you. So we got a lot of problems. We got a lot of problems dealing with the brothers and the sisters. And sometimes that's where we need to put our focus at. And so we're going to look at a couple of simplistic things. Forget about all that deep stuff. I don't care nothing about you living by no Hebrew name. That don't mean nothing to me. Because a lot of you sisters, you might have Hebrew names, but you still got the same dead westernized way of thinking. You can do all of these other things with garments and head wraps and everything else. But when it comes to the simplistic things of being obedient and obeying your own husband, you got a problem with that. As though your husband gonna tell you something wrong. It ain't your husband that told you to obey him. It was God that told you to obey him. And God didn't just tell you to obey him for a reason. And the problem is this. The problem is you don't want to accept the chastisement that comes with your rebellion against God. It's God that told the woman that. It's God that tells Adam to accept responsibility and get out here by the sweat of your brow and work every day to take care of these women, to take care of these children. It's God that tell a man that. But you got a bunch of jokers out here, even our brothers out here on the street. You don't sell dope and jeopardize everything by allowing yourself to be sent away to the penitentiary and then make all kind of excuses when you yourself know that the only reason why you landed in prison is because you refused to accept the responsibility that God put on you. So while you looking at each other, everybody need to stop and start looking at the Most High and say, what is it that God requires of me? You can't change nobody's life. Ain't no man can change no woman's life. Ain't no woman can change no man's life. But you wasn't put here to change nobody's life. You was put here to be obedient as an individual and live up to the responsibility that God has set for each one of you. And if I'm living up to it, I ain't got nothing to do with whether you do it or not. Because if you don't do it, then it's two things that's going to happen. Either God going to rebuke you, woman or man, or you're going to end up by yourself. You're going to end up losing a good woman or a good man, and you're going to be standing out on the sideline watching that man when God give him another woman, or watching that woman when God give her another man. You're going to be standing off on the sideline talking about how you used to have a good woman, but you blew it. You hear this stuff all the time, man. It's real simple. You want to see things turn around in our community? You want to see things turn around in our life? Understand what your accountability is to the Most High. Now I'm going to show you some simplistic things for women and men. And take your focus off man and start putting the focus on you. Because it's all going to boil down to what the individual does with his life or her life. When the Messiah said, why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother or sister's eye, and you don't consider the plank or the log that is in your own eye? First, you hypocritical brother or sister, deal with your own life. Find out what God wants from you and deal with your own life. And then you'll be able to move in ways that God tell you that are conducive to being able to deal with your brother or sister who are in maybe a lost state or may not operate. Well, I don't know. Well, these men, they don't do this, they don't care nothing about what the men do. What are you going to do? Because that's the only thing that matters in the Most High's eyes. Man, these women, man, it don't matter about these women. What are you going to do? Well, these women got too much mouth. Wait a minute. Well, what are you going to do? Because if you start doing what the Most High is instructing you to do, then now you'll see clearly enough to be able to deal with a woman that has a mouth that you can't control. See, God gonna favor the man or the woman that's doing what he instructs them to do. Let's go look at simplistic passage of scripture. Good morning, daughter. Simplistic passage of scripture, because let me tell you something. Out of everything that can be accomplished in this world, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, you can be a Hollywood actress, you can be on TV, you can be a dentist, you can do a lot of great things in this world. But let me tell you something, there ain't nothing that stands at the top. Ain't nothing that stands above marriage. Because marriage is a lifelong responsibility. It's going to last throughout the course of your life. And you're going to go through vicissitudes in life. You're going to go up and you're going down. It's like a roller coaster ride. And the people that truly, genuinely serve in the Most High, they're going to be able to go on the roller coaster ride of their life. They'll have as much excitement and heart thrill and you know what, they'll go through that. But they'll come out at the end together. And that is the greatest exemplification of the Most High's righteousness in this world. And if you're a woman and you know that you got a good man, you know that you got a quiet man, but you full of words and you ain't got nothing but a lot of mouth, you're unappreciative, you're ungrateful, you're only thinking about yourself, you're going to lose what you got. Because we're going to bring forth some scripture to show you that. Don't no man have to stay with a woman that's like that. The Bible tells you that when you come across a woman that's like that, to cut her off. And if you're a man, the same way. If you're a man and you know you got a good woman, you know you got a woman that's responsible for those children, goes to work, brings her money home, do what she's supposed to do with it. You know you got a woman that takes care of home, cooks for you, can keep the kids clean and all of that. But only thing you want to do is rip and run the streets like you got something great. And you ain't accomplishing nothing. You ain't putting forth no work. You putting most of the responsibility on her. Guess what? He that trouble his own house shall inherit the wind. You're going to lose what you got. So we want to look at some simplistic things that are directly pertaining to the responsibility and the accountability that God expects from us, a woman and a man, as individual. What God expects from a woman has absolutely nothing to do with a man. Good morning, son. And what God expects from a woman, what God expects from a man has absolutely nothing to do with a woman. So you can never come back making the same excuses. But there's no new thing under the sun. Adam and Eve made the same excuses. And so that's what we're going to look at. Now, so let's go here. Here we go. Let's go to, and God called Adam, where art thou? So we're going to go to Genesis 3rd chapter. Genesis 3rd chapter. We're going to deal with Adam and Eve today. We're going to deal with the responsibility of the brothers and the sisters as it relate to the home. I got you, son. I had to put a wheel on my lawnmower, and one's in the shop, so I'll get by there. If it don't rain tomorrow, I'll be there. And if it do rain tomorrow, I'll be there the next day. Genesis chapter 3, verse 9. Genesis chapter 3, verse 9. And it says, and the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? So, brother, the first thing you got to understand is this. You got to be able to identify with where are you. You see, why would God have to go and call to Adam and ask him, Adam, where are you? I tell you why. Because Adam wasn't in the place that he was supposed to be, and God holding you accountable to be in the place that you're supposed to be. Why do I say this? Because before God ever even gave Adam Eve, he put him in a garden and told him to till it. He told him to till the garden. He gave him a job. He gave him responsibility. And many times you sisters got to be mindful of the fact that a lot of trouble you bring on yourself when you invite a man into your life that don't know where he's at. He ain't doing what he's supposed to do. Before a man go and get a woman, you need to know how to take care of the responsibility that been placed in your care, namely yourself. Before you go and grab you a man, sister, that you're going to end up talking about, that you're going to end up running down, before you go and grab him, you ought to challenge him. I can't mess with no man unless he know where he is. Well, what do you mean? A man knowing where he is, understand that he got to take care of himself, be able to take care of his responsibility long before he get a woman. If he can't take care of himself before he get you, what make you think he going to be able to take care of you? This is the condition that we are in. Where are you, Adam? Where are you? I gave you 7 things to do. I gave you 6 things to do before he broke the 7th. You see? I told you to take care and till the garden and to be fruitful and make the garden fruitful. I told you to subdue it and bring the animals and everything up under your subjection. I told you to have dominion over everything that I had created. I told you to replenish it. When things were dry, I told you to go water the dry areas. I told you to replenish it and make sure that everything stayed balanced and everything got what it was supposed to have. And now I come walking through the garden and I can't find you doing nothing that I told you to do. Where are you, Adam? Where are you, brother? Where are you, brother? That ain't got no time to serve the Most High. They ain't got no sense at all. Where are you, brother? Out here hanging on the street corner, talking like you cool. Ain't got no car, ain't got no keys to no apartment, ain't taking care of none of your responsibility, but you're out here trying to tell somebody something. And you think that some woman want to bring you home with her, and when she don't want to bring you home, now you got a problem. She's a bitch. She's a hoe. I don't love these hoes. So now you got a mindset. The only thing that you want to do is rob and rape a sister because you can't take care of yourself. And you like a beggar. Well, the Bible says, rather die than to live the life of a beggar. And one of the things that's killing and choking the life out of our home situation is men are living a life of beggars, looking for handouts at the hands of the sisters that they're supposed to be taking care of and assuming a responsibility for. And now you're a beggar and you become as a child in a woman's house because it never was her responsibility to lead the family. So she don't possess understanding and knowledge in that area. And because she's controlled by her emotions, she that assumes the responsibility and a care for a man shall be full of anger and reproach and impotence. Because that's not how it's supposed to be. And when she tell you, give me my keys, give me my car, get your clothes out of my house, that's what you should expect. Because you got no business being in her house no way. Where are you, Adam? You're reaching fatherhood. Like old preacher said, you're reaching fatherhood and you got children now. And now you got responsibility, but you still want to be in a park playing like a little boy. Where are you, Adam? Where are you, Adam? That's what God was asking him. And I'm asking the same thing to the brothers. Nah, marriage is gangster work. It's gangster work. Ain't no weak, timid, sissified, pussyfoot men can make a way and make a marriage last when you got to deal with women that have to be trained, with women that have to be taught, with women that have to be dwelt with according to their level of understanding and their level of consciousness. When you dealing with somebody that is an individual, have their own way of thinking, have their own mindset, have their own way of how they want to do things. It takes a gangster to be able to maneuver through those things. Well, sissified men, they give up on everything. Oh, man, I ain't taking this. I'm out here. I'm out here. Yeah, well, you know what? The only place you leaving because it don't belong to you. But I ain't never seen a man pack up and tell himself, I'm out of here, and leave his own car, walk off and leave his own house. And the car and the house ain't even important, but a man will walk off and leave his own children and declare that he loved them. Where are you, Adam? That's Genesis 9th chapter. Genesis chapter 9. And we deal with these videos. We tell our sisters, when we start dealing with the brothers, you be quiet. Y'all don't need nobody to agree with what I'm saying about the men. And when we start dealing with the women, you brothers be quiet. We don't need nobody agreeing with the women, because that's the problem right there. You're too busy looking at what each other is doing, is that you ain't getting jack diddly squat done that the Most High told you to do. And God called to Adam and said, Adam, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. You see? That's Adam coming to a place to where he recognized he done messed up. I done messed up. I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, so I went and hid myself. And that's what brothers do. Instead of going to approach God and fall on your face and repent and ask for forgiveness, ask for mercy, ask for direction, you run and hide from your responsibility. I hid myself because I was naked. I was naked. I was naked. I knew I was supposed to be going to work, but I spent too much time out there with the boys, messed around and tripped and lost the job, and now I'm hiding. I don't want to talk to nobody because I'm naked. I can't pay my bills no more. I'm naked. I'm ashamed of what happened because I've been entangled into some foolishness. So I went and ran into hiding. Where art thou, Adam? He said, Who told thee thou was naked? Have you eaten of the tree where I commanded you, thou shalt not eat? There goes the Most High asking him. Oh, now you see whose fault it is, brother? Now you see whose fault it is that our brothers is locked up in the penitentiary? Now you see whose fault it is that our brothers are on the street corner begging for change? What woman want a man that's standing out there panhandling, living the life of a beggar, when God told him, before you allow yourself to get to this point where you live a life of a beggar, go and find the nearest cliff and fall off. Go find somebody and borrow somebody's gun and eat the bullet. Go jump in front of a moving diesel and be smashed. Matter of fact, go jump off the bridge. Any brothers out there, if you ever come to the place in your life to where you desire to live the life of a beggar, it's better for you to die. Because God is too great to make something as great as man, and he fall to that level of life. No real man wants to beg nobody for anything. A real man don't even want people doing anything for him when he is in trouble. When he needs some justifiable help, a real man don't even want to accept it, because that is what a man is. Have you eaten from the tree that I told you? Basically, have you done what I told you not to do? And many brothers' lives is in the condition that they're in because they are doing what God told them not to do. Told you to take care of everything. Take care of this woman. Take care of these children. Subdue them. To subdue something means to bring it into subjection, up under your authority. To have dominion over something is to reign over something like God reigns over his heavenly kingdom. To be a king in your house is to have your people, your subjects, have dominion over your subjects. To be able to detect when the woman is out of order. To be able to detect when she's broken. To be able to understand when she needs space, when she needs quiet time. To be able to understand when she needs encouraging words. To be able to understand the difference between when she needs mild correction, chastisement, or rebuke. You got to be able to replenish. And if you ain't doing those things, then your life will be in the condition that it is in. And you'll run and hide and get on crack. Run and hide and crawl inside of a whiskey bottle. Run and hide and crawl in some other woman's bed until she find out what kind of joker you are. It's going to get rough in here today, buddy. I can tell y'all right out the gate. Because this is the condition that our family is in. And some of you brothers, you might not have problems with that. You might be doing what you're supposed to do, employed and making money and doing but you got a rot gut mindset because you don't want to be responsible for what God told you to be responsible for. You looking for some woman to have the same thing that you have. You looking for some woman to be in a certain place before you decide that, okay, I can work with this woman. Rather than looking for something that's perfect, it's better to get something that's messed up that you can rebuild. And when you rebuild it, you can feel good about it because you know in order to build something, you will operate on the principles of the Most High. Except the Lord build a house, they that build it in vain. But we looking for some instant, ready-made, Betty Crocker marriage. Yep. So Adam confessed. He told him I was naked. So I went and hid. I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, and I knew eventually I was going to have to pay for it. So when it came time for me to get my punishment, I ran and I hid. And that's what a lot of these brothers do. A lot of these brothers ready to go to the penitentiary. Then they have to come face to face with the children that they have neglected while they was on the street. Some of these brothers are ready to run and go hide in the penitentiary than to come face to face with the woman that they laid down with that cared enough about them to have their baby. They'd rather go and run and hide in prison. Have you eaten from the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not eat? And the man said, the woman thou gavest me to be with me, she gave it to me, and then I ate it. You see how the brothers always blaming the sisters for everything? When ultimately God never put Eve in charge of nothing. He put you in charge. He put you over Eve. He put you over Eve. And the Bible says, don't give no shameless woman no liberty. Don't give her no freedom to move around. It's your responsibility to make sure. I'm a married man. I got a wife back home. Do you think me and Sweetie Pie all time get along? No, there's some time that I'm going to love on her, but there's some time that you don't get no freedom. You're going to make the right decision, and if you get ready to make the wrong one, I'm going to be right there, and I don't care how you feel about it because I'm who I am. And if you step away from me, you step away from God because you ain't allowing me to do what God instructed me to do. That's to be a man. And me being a man don't have a damn thing with whether or not you're going to allow me to do anything or not. I'm going to do what God tell me to do, whether you subjected to it or not. Come on, brothers. We got to get our heads right. We got to get our heads right. There is a reason why in the book of Corinthians it says, husbands loves your wives, and then wives respect your husbands as unto the. It's a reason why God never told Eve to love Adam. He told Eve to obey Adam. God never told Adam to obey Eve. He told Adam to love Eve. Why? Because the way he built Eve is an emotional being. She can love you one minute and hate you the next minute. Her mind is movable and her ways are movable, that there are no way possible that a man could know the way that a woman's going to think. So you got to be able to love her when she's right, love her when she's dead wrong, love her when she's talking good, love her when she's ranting and raving. He didn't tell you, but he told Eve to respect that man. You see, right now we're talking about Adam. Don't be no pussy-footed, timid, sissified man walking around, sucking up to no woman that you're supposed to be leading. Now, a woman always talking about they want a good man, but when he tell them what to do, all of a sudden he ain't good no more. So, he said, the woman you gave me caused me to sin against you. Now, is that what many of you brothers gonna fall into? That's why you can't take care of your children. The woman that you gave me, she caused me, I just couldn't take it no more. I couldn't take it no more. And because of that, your own kids ain't seen you in years. The woman you gave me. The woman you gave me is the reason why my life is in shambles. blame Eve. But Eve didn't give Adam his responsibility. You can't blame a woman if she didn't give you your responsibility, Adam. Brother, this is God's world. The earth is the Lord, the fullness thereof. The world and everything in it belongs to the Most High. And you are his greatest creation. And the only thing you have to do is the simplistic things that he instructs you to do. Till the garden. Work. If you can't see working a 9 to 5, then you got to find a way to tap into the gift that the Most High give you so you can start using your gift to make money. But you got to work. You got to make a living. You got to make a living. Because that's the only way that you can assume your responsibility. And you sisters, if you see a brother that ain't making his own living and assuming his responsibility, you leave him alone. So driven by your hormones and want to fornicate all the time and ready to open up your quiver just because you having some lustful desires, and then you go get a man that you know ain't doing nothing. And some of you do it strategically because you got your own job, you got your own house, you got all of the things that Adam's supposed to be having, and you want Adam's control, and we're going to show you why you are in rebellion. And if you can ever repent from these things, you're going to be good. So for the moment, y'all just ponder that right quick. I'll be right back. Do apologize for that. Okay, so brothers, we got to understand, listen, and nobody's talking about, nobody can hold you accountable. Nobody can hold you as a prisoner to what happened yesterday. But you take your today, and then you say, you know what? I'm going to ask God. Because let me tell you something. I don't care what level of life you on. Let me tell you, when I was out there in them streets selling drugs and doing everything under the sun, it still was time that I thought about God. And our brothers think the same way. They think about God. They think about God. They think about life. You know, sometimes you just have to say, okay, you know what? I can't go back and fix what I did yesterday, but I got to find a way. I got to find a way to start doing things a little bit better. And it's real simple. You see? Because when a man start working and start making his money, he feel good about himself because now he can take care of himself. When a man can take care of himself and start getting the things that he desire to have, you know what I mean, then he start feel good about himself. And then a woman looks over there. You see, when God put Adam in the garden, he didn't have no woman yet. But once Adam could handle his responsibility, then God gave him more responsibility. He brought Eve to him, and now Eve became a part of his responsibility. And once he brought Eve to him, now God add more responsibility. To him who have, more shall be given. But to him that have not, even that he have shall be taken away from him. So the more you are showing yourself as a responsible man, the more God brings to you. You see? And when you fall down and you don't do what you know you're supposed to do, then when the instruction or the chastisement come, you have to be able to receive that, because receiving that is what wipes your slate clean again. So hear me, brothers. If you've been there If you know you've been irresponsible, I've been irresponsible. I lost my first marriage from irresponsibility. If you know you've been there, you understand what I'm saying? When it comes time to suffer your just due, you got to suffer it, suck it up, learn from it, and then go on, pull yourself together and say, I'm going to do a little bit better now. The marriage didn't work, but I still, you see, a woman ain't always got to be a wife, but ain't nothing that she can do to change the fact of you being a father. You will always be a father. So I may not did right then, but I'm still a father. I don't have a wife no more, but the children still belong to me. So I can start here and doing the best that I can with what I got. You see, when chastisement has come to correct us. And when we can accept that, then we repent from that. Now our slate is wiped clean again. And now we can start receiving God's blessing all over again. So, but you can't use no woman for your excuse for being a failure, because that's what Adam attempted to do. He said, have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you? That didn't have nothing to do with Eve. It's God tell you to do one thing. Now, if you listening to your woman and you start your wife and you start doing against God, oh, you got a problem. Adam shows you that. And you got scripture for everything. Another passage, a noble content in the book of Corinthians, say he that have a wife, let him be as though he didn't have one. She that have a husband, let her be as though he didn't have. See, the reason why he tell you that is that when a man's trying to operate in his natural gifting and principles of obedience that God called him to operate in, and then he got a woman that's fighting against him, God said, you be as though you don't have no wife, because at no cost or no time do you allow a wife to make you go against me. So at the point that she start acting up, then you be as though you don't have one. What's up, big bro?
Did you go back home, bro?
No, I'm still down in the neighborhood waiting on you.
Okay, I'm going to head out now. I just got to do my paperwork, so start coming in about 20 minutes.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what Adam did. Adam started listening to his wife. And many of our sisters, they are going to have a readjustment of their thinking, just like we ain't dealing with just brothers. We're dealing with brothers and sisters, because we're dealing with the family structure as a whole. All that I love the Lord. He heard my cry. Sister, you ain't got no husbands. Don't feel I know that God ain't hearing your cry, because you're completely going against his plan and his will. And you might have been through something in the past that made you vulnerable to the point to where you don't want to go through what you've been through. But that ain't no excuse neither. You was put here for one reason. That was to help a man be able to do all the things that God had commanded him to do. So it's something you better be thinking about, something you better get in the closet and start praying about. So here's what I think God challenged him, and Adam said, well, the woman you gave me. So not only did he blame Eve, but he blamed God for giving him the woman. You see? As though his heart was broken when he seen the animals being fruitful, humping each other. And his nature rising, and it ain't nothing there. And he said, oh, it's God's fault. As though he didn't have a desire, as though he didn't feel lonely and left alone because everything else had a mate. Now it's God's fault. Oh, you forgot. You forgot about the condition that you was in when you didn't have nobody. Oh, I wish I had somebody to share my life with. Oh, I wish I had somebody to live my life. Then God give you somebody to live your life with, and God give you somebody to be fruitful and multiply with, and then you run off and leave the children. You run off and leave the wife. You run off and do all of these things because you won't do what God tell you to do. And then you go and blame God for what he gave you that your heart was desiring. Oh, man, our brothers got some twisted mindsets. My mindset used to be twisted too. That's why we're able to come back and make these things plain. It's not from a standpoint of being judgmental. It's from a standpoint of experiences. And if somebody can show you how to get your way back, it's because they have already climbed up the ladder. So let's go now. And God said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, well, the serpent tricked me, and I did eat. Look at her. She passes the blame to the serpent. So she got every other excuse in the world why she can't do what God told her. Because God told Eve the same thing. He told her the same thing that he told Adam. Of all these trees you can freely eat. Don't you eat from this tree that's in the midst of the garden. Don't you eat from this tree of knowledge of good and evil. God told Eve that. I had a good argument with one of the brothers, with a brother one day, because his grandma was a pastor, and I told her ain't no woman got no business in no pastor or this and that and the other. And we got to talking about Adam and Eve. He said, well, you know, Adam is the one that sinned because Eve didn't know. I opened up the Bible. I told my cousin them, because we get together as brothers, and everybody ain't in the Bible, everybody ain't religious, but all of our other brothers, they be gathered around to see who gonna win the battle. So I told my cousin, go in there and get a Bible. Turn to the Bible, and there it was, biggest day. God told Eve the same thing. I said, so God told Eve this, and Eve done it anyway. So you can't make no justifications for certain things. And rather than him accepting it, he just got mad and loud and belligerent. But I don't care how mad and loud and belligerent, nobody get the word, ain't gonna change. So Eve blamed the serpent. She said, the devil tricked me. He said, well, how the devil gonna trick you, sister, when you already know what to do? How? How the serpent gonna beguile you when you giving the fruit away? I know. You didn't think that could come out of the Bible. It could be made that plain. How the serpent gonna trick you when it's you that bring a man into fornication? How the serpent gonna be tricking you when most men are timid and most men have a bashfulness when it comes to women that they like and women that they would love to be with? They are timid because they don't want to do anything that would run a rubber wrong. They are bashful because they don't really want to say nothing that she'll take the wrong way because they want to be close to her. But how you gonna say the serpent tricked you when it's you that brought the man into the place of fornication? It's you that gave the fruit away. It's you that opened up the quiver and invited him in. But you knew what kind of man that was. You knew whether he was ready for that responsibility before you ever did it. Oh, the serpent tricked me. The serpent tricked me. Say, ain't nobody trick you, because you heard what God said. And many of you sisters, you listening to what the world say. You listening to the charlatans of the world telling, oh, I'm a strong black woman. You ain't no strong black woman. You a weak, timid woman that's in rebellion against the holy and righteous God. And that's why your life don't nothing good come out of it. That's why you can have the new car and you can have a nice apartment and you go out of your way to make sure that you got all these material things, but you go home alone and then you weep because ain't nothing there. And then you make excuses for why you in that condition, but you in that condition because you were the one that's in rebellion. So she said that the devil tricked me. And then God said to the serpent, now, we ain't even got to deal with the serpent. We ain't even got to deal with the serpent. Because we already know that God cursed the serpent and told him what he did. But what we dealing with, man and woman. So if you can ever get this right here, you'll be back where Adam was before he fell. Sister, if you can get this right here and be obedient to it, then the same way God cursed us, these curses can be reversed. Watch this. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and thy conception, and in sorrow you shall bring forth children. Women can accept that, because children are still being born. Women can accept the fact that they bring forth children and they know they got to go through labor. Even women that ain't never had no babies, they know that they got to go through a painful process to produce children. They have accepted that, because that is part of the punishment that God put on them for what they done against him. And they are able to accept that. And because they're able to accept that, children are still being born. But here's the part that they can't accept. And you can't just accept part of your punishment. You got to be able to take the whole whooping. And thy desire shall be unto thy husband. That's another piece of punishment, because God had put desires down in your heart to make you understand that your desires were not always subjected to Adam. You was walking side by side Adam as a help. That means that being a help, you was the most important thing that Adam would ever get in this life. You show me what is the CEO up against the employees of a company. You take the help away, the company can't stand. This was the condition of Eve, of the women, before their mother fell into sin. He said, and because you have transgressed against me, no longer will you have that great source of help and that great source of power, though I will leave all of those desires, all those gifts right there. He said, and those desires that were once for you, now you have to pass them to your husband. And you know that your husband don't have the capacity to think like you, wouldn't do it like you, don't understand it like you, because after all, you were to help him, but he don't understand the things that you understand. You could get it done with one swipe. He gonna have to make 10 mistakes, and that desire is in your heart, and now God's telling you all those know-hows and all those things, you gotta now give them to your husband, who's gonna fumble around with them, who gonna make mistakes, who ain't gonna get it right. And every time you think about it, I know how it's supposed to be done. I know what I'm talking about. This is one of the areas that me and Sweetie Pie have it out in. She thinks it wants to be done one way. I'm gonna do it another way. But she knows how it's gonna be done. I make 2 or 3 mistakes. I have to come back and say, hey, Sweetie Pie, you know what? You was right. You was right. But the only way that can happen is that she got to be willing to pass it to me. And you can pass it to me. Okay, well, go ahead. God said I'll pass it to you. Go ahead. You don't know what to do with it. No way. See, when you can be obedient to the Most High, then it'll boomerang back to you. But the test is this. God tell you your desires gonna pass to your husband now. I put the thing in your heart. You know how it's supposed to be done, but you ain't gonna be the one to get it done. You're gonna have to give it to your husband. I didn't give him that desire. You're going to have to give it to him. And the thing you know you capable of making happen just like that, you're going to have to pass that over there to him, because he's the leader. He's the one that's lead. He said, your desire shall be unto your husband, and he shall have rule over you. You see? But when you start talking to sisters like that, men didn't say that. That's what God said. And God said that because that is the punishment that you have to accept in order to get restored back to the place. Just because he said your desire will go to your husband and he will have rule over you is a test to see if you're going to be obedient enough to pass it to your husband when he wants to do it a certain way. And you let him have rule over you. But see, if you can accept that test, you will see that it never was for your husband to be the help. So he won't be able to do according to the desire that was in your heart. But because you being obedient, it will cause your husband now to boomerang back and then understand why God gave you and why you so important as the help, because he can't do it. He understand this ain't for me to do. Even though my wife passed it to me, it's not for me to do. So it's going to boomerang back, and I'm going to say, hey, baby, I know I thought I could do it, but it wasn't for me. And this is a gifting. So here is back in your hands. You go on and do with it what you gonna do with it. But the only way a sister can get there, she got to be able to climb over the pride in her life and understand that the reason why a man gonna rule over you ain't because he desires to rule over you. It's because you transgress the Most High's commandment, and that's your punishment. To feel the effects of being able to do something and not be able to do it and have to give it to somebody that you know don't have the capability to do it. That's God humbling you before him. And if you can ever get past that test, then you can experience love and joy from a man that you ain't never seen before. But the reason you can't experience the love and joy and the man that you ain't never seen before ain't because of the man. It's because of your rebellion against the Most High. You won't do what the Most High told you to do. You won't give the desire to the man. You won't let him have rule over you. And therefore, it becomes an argument. It becomes a fight. It becomes friction between you and the man. And you end up blaming the man for something that you are unwilling to do, not for him, but for God. These are simplistic things. See? Now listen to what he told Adam. Because that was your punishment. Your punishment came first. You've already accepted the fact about being have to have labor, childbearing. You already accepted that. But you got to be able to accept the thing you feeling, the thing that you always arguing with your man about. I'm tired of him leaving his socks and his shoes all around and this and that. No. You do what the Most High. You got a desire in your heart. You want to see everything nice. You want to see everything neat. You want to see everything clean. But the man ain't built like you. He's built to work in the field. He works outside. He don't know nothing about taking care of no house. He don't know nothing about washing no clothes and washing no dishes and all. Even though a man can do it when he is by himself, that's not ultimately his responsibility. He is preoccupied with bigger things. How I'm going to pay the rent. How I'm going to keep the lights on. How I'm going to keep the gas on. Oh, the car need gas. The car need insurance. Oh, we got to pay property tax. Oh, see, man is preoccupied with major things. He ain't thinking about those little things. You desire for your house to be. You want the furniture to be like this. You want the furniture to be like, but a man don't care what it's like. So he come in and kick his boots off, stretch out on the couch and lay out. You have a desire in your heart, but that desire got to pass. You got to throw that desire to your husband. You got to say, no, you know what? I'm just going to pass that over there and let my husband give him the freedom to do what he want to do. As long as I see him out there doing what God told him to do, I got to do what God told me to do. You can't do what God told you to do looking at what your husband is doing. So you got to be able to accept that part. That desire shall be unto your husband, and he shall have rule over you. Yep. That's where the cohesiveness will come from. Now let me show you something, brothers, because we back in the brothers' hands. And unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened to the voice of your wife. This is what God tell. Because you listening to your wife, ain't no man supposed to be listening to you, woman. Ain't no man supposed to be listening to you, because everything that you got to say is supposed to pass to us. Everything that come out of your mouth is born out of your heart. The desires of your heart come out of your mouth, and it shouldn't even come out of your mouth. We ain't supposed to listen to you, because God said you're in the situation that you're in right now because you've been listening to your wife. And if you wasn't listening to her and go on and stand up and pull your britches up and go on and be a man, you can withhold your family structure in a way that it's supposed to be, because you have listened. Every time you listen to your wife, you transgress against God, because she don't have the eyesight to be able to lead you in places of righteousness. Come on, brothers, stand up. It's time out for that weak, sissified, pussy-footed, weeping willow, hen-pecked a piece of a man. Because what's going to happen? If she walk up and leave, let her go. The Bible tell you, if she go not in the way that you'll have her to go, they'll cut her off anyway. So stand up and be a man. God said, because you have listened to your wife, because you have hearkened to the voice of your wife, and you have eaten. It's not so much as we don't listen to our wives. There are times that we listen to our wives. When our wives telling us to do something that go against something that we know that God told us to do, we got a problem. You let me tell you, brother, if you got a wife, hey, you know what? You got children outside the marriage. You got a wife. You got a wife that don't want to see you do anything with your children. You understand? You got a problem. You don't listen to your wife in that area. You can be mad all you want. You can be jealous of the other woman. You can be jealous of the mama. You can be jealous of whatever you want to do. But don't you ever think that you're going to get me to go against my children, period. Because they are part of my responsibility that God gave me. These are just some real life scenarios that we have to deal with, that we have to face on a daily basis. We have seen men's relationships with their children castrated so that they can become pleasers of a woman. Hell no, we ain't listening to nothing like that. Go on and be mad. And if you think that that's going to make the marriage fall apart, then go on and get on out of here. Go on out of here and go on. Because you might cease from being my wife tomorrow. But I ain't never going to cease from being a father. That's my responsibility that God give me. And people got to start understanding it's not all about what people say. When we start looking at the fact that it's what God say, you might not like it because it's coming out of my mouth and because it look like I'm the one that's saying it. But if it's what God said, then you know what? You ain't rebelling against me. So he said, because you hearken to the voice of your wife, and you have eaten from the tree, which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. It's like one of the curses that said, the heaven that is over thee shall be as powder, and the earth that is up under thee shall be as iron. That means that Adam and Eve and their children will be going into places of poverty now. Cursed shall be the ground. It shall be a hard road. So don't come crying to me talking about no $7, no $8 an hour. All that $7 and $8 an hour stuff come as a result of us not doing what we supposed to do. But when we start doing what we supposed to do, then God can accept that and then bring us into places to where we can make $25 or $30 an hour. But you got to first accept the fact that there will be an impoverished like situation because the ground is cursed. It ain't no longer going to produce the thing that it was producing when you was walking in obedience. It's part of punishment. It's part of punishment. He said, in sorrow you shall eat all of the days of your life. In sorrow we shall eat. I don't care, man, if you ain't got no money. I don't care if you're doing what you're supposed to. I don't care if you got to come home and eat Roman noodles 3 times a day. I remember when we was children, it was like that. I don't care what you got to do. If you got to eat, bologna sandwiches, or not that I'm advocating eating no type of meat, no type of flesh and blood at all. I'm just using it for an example that when you're impoverished, you don't get to pick and choose the things that you want to eat. You got to eat, and you're going to eat in sorrow, because in sorrow, you want to be able to feed your family better. You want to be able to have access to better things. But because of your transgression, God sends you to a place to where you have to accept a temporary punishment. And if you can't accept the punishment, like many of our brothers, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. But you'll go sell dope. You'll go sell dope. And next thing you know, you in the penitentiary. Oh, I can't work no $10 an hour. That ain't for me. That ain't for. But you'll go and rob somebody that's working for $10 an hour and end up in the penitentiary. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do it. But you'll climb through somebody's window and murder somebody for what for them being able to do it. But you can't do it. You can't do it. Cursed be the ground. In sorrow you shall eat all the days of our life. That means all the days of our life that we're going to go through these things as men, because that is the responsibility, and that is the repercussion for our failure to be obedient to the Most High. But when we can accept that chastisement, then we can become better. And that's why I tell men and women both alike, if you can't accept constructive criticism, you ain't got no room to grow. You'll stagnate your own growth. If can't nobody come and critique you, can't say nothing bad about you, can't say nothing negative, can't point out your weaknesses or your failures, how you ever gonna get better? So God telling them, when you can accept this fact, that where it used to be fruit trees and apple trees and everything, now it's thorns and thistles. When you accept the fact that you'll do like Pharaoh told Moses, you'll be bidded to make bricks, but you ain't getting no straw, and then you from sun up to sundown trying to gather enough for one meal. You see, that's, thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. There it is again. And thou shalt eat the herb of the field, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Cursed be the ground. Cursed be the ground. Cursed be the ground. And thou shalt eat the herb of the field, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. You see, you're still transgressing against the Most High. When we come to tell you that Adam was over all the animals, but he never classified, he never told him not one time that he was going to eat the animals for his sustenance. He said, in sorrow shall he eat all the days of his life. That means he wasn't going to be sitting there eating no steak, eating no lobster, eating no fish, eating no lobster tails, no crab leg. Cursed be the ground, and he shall eat the herb of the field. That means that the ground would no longer yield its fruit that God told him. Of all the fruits of these trees you may freely eat, these seeds, these grains, but it's what he told him. He said, and now the ground that was growing your food ain't gonna yield it no more. He said, and now Well, you could eat the fruits of the trees and the seeds. Now you're going to have to eat the herbs. Because the only thing you're going to see is wild grass that's growing. That's what Adam had to go through. Adam had to accept that. Adam had to accept that. Adam had to accept that. See? And somebody might use this. But see, I ain't going to go in there. So we're talking about the marital union. We're talking about a woman being able to accept her responsibility and a man being able to accept his responsibility. Understand the reason why we clash is because each one of us do not want to accept the fact that I transgressed God in this particular area, and therefore God punished me in this area. I transgressed God in this area, and God punished me in this area. It's not the woman's fault. It's not the man's fault. It's my fault. And when I can accept the punishment that God is putting on me, I say, yes, Lord, I understand. I did transgress, but I repent, and I'll do this your way as you'll have me to do it. And then the man say, it was my fault. It wasn't her fault. Well, I'm the one that made the mistake, but I'm willing to do it how you tell me to do it. And then he start doing it like God tell him to do it, and she start doing it like God tell her to do it. Now they both become fulfillment for each other, because while she's obeying him and passing her desire to him, it's boomeranging back off of him, back onto her, and it's causing her to be able to now be the helpmeet that she was meant to be in the beginning. As Adam goes out and tills a ground and a barren land, now he gets his helpmate back. And when you put the both of them together, now they give forth to great things. One old preacher said, when women and men come together, sons and daughters are born. And now you're talking about moving back into the place where God told both of us to be fruitful and to multiply and to fill the earth. Fill the earth with what? With just children? No. Fill the earth with obediences so that your children can be, what they going to become? You're going to fill the earth with images and likenesses of the Most High, because you have now both repented and come back to the responsibility that God has for both of you. And when you bring your children up, you bring your children up in the fear and in the admonition of the Lord. And now they begin to multiply and fill the earth with images and likenesses of the Most High's righteousness. That's what we miss. That's what we miss. And it's real simple. It just takes humility for everybody. And women out here thinking that it ain't no men out here for them. And men out here thinking that they can't be with no man. You got women out here that don't never want to be married. You got men out here talking about, I ain't never getting married. Don't even understand what they saying. Don't even know that they throwing dirt in the Most High's face, because you was created for this reason. That's why you got so much homosexuality out here. You got corruption out here. Men don't want to accept the punishment that God put on them, so they'll become lovers of themselves to make an excuse to rectify what happened with the woman that they was following. So now you won't follow a woman, but God never told you to follow another man neither. You're supposed to be following him, and rather than to reunite yourself in repentance up under the Most High's righteousness, you'll rather cast a woman off and now take a dick up under the mustache and then get mad when a real man step to you and tell your little faggot self to pull yourself together. Then you get mad. The sister's the same way. You don't want to be up under a man, so you'll go and get a woman to start licking on you and all this debauchery that you're doing. And then you think somebody's supposed to respect you because Satan is still talking to you. He's still deceiving you. He's still spitting the same. Have God not said that you couldn't lick on your sister? Had God not? You know God told you that you shouldn't be eating from anything that he didn't give you to eat from. Man, you know that God told you that. And you're making excuses. And now y'all ready to get me kicked off Facebook and YouTube. You ready, bro? Here I come. I'll be there in a minute.
No, take your time, because I was going to walk to the paint shop. If you're busy, I've been sitting outdoors about 10 minutes. Take your time.
No, I ain't busy.
Oh, okay, because I was going to take off here walking to the paint shop. You could just let me at the body shop.
Well, if you want to go down there, you can go down there. That's cool.
Okay, yeah, but okay, so Jay, just me, I'll be there in about 30 minutes. I'm walking now.
Okay.
Straight there.
All right.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so they about to get me kicked off Facebook and YouTube now. You know what I'm saying? But I'm serious. I'm serious, man, because, unless we start looking at ourselves instead of each other, women don't want to look at themselves. They want to look at each other. You don't want to, man, oh, niggas ain't shit. But you'll go get a trifling woman that's dressed up like a man, got pants hanging off her back, sitting there with a boy haircut. You'll go get another woman that pretending to be a man. And then you want to hook yourself up with some gay dude. As though you done hook yourself up with the most unrighteous and most wicked person on the planet. Because these people are trying to stop God's process. They're trying to stop God's will from being done. Can't no two men be fruitful and multiply. I ain't got no respect for you, nobody else. For what? For what? God ain't no respect of persons. When we dealing with the word, we dealing with the word. If you fall in there, you got to deal with it. I'm talking about the family. How you gonna keep the family together when you steadily got men that's fondling little boys and bringing them up into homosexuality because the women that got cool with a punk, and you done bring a punk into your house, and now the punk is casting spells on your little son, and then when he grow up switching and everything, you want to blame it that his daddy ain't there. Or his daddy ain't there. You better get out of here with that mess. It's the same thing. I used to teach my daughters when they was real young. You better watch out for them girls. Oh, no, my girls, they don't, my kids, I didn't play that. Going to people's house and spending the night and all. No, I didn't play that. And even though they mama, I don't care. You ain't getting that off. You ain't getting that off. Them are my kids. They're your kids too. But them are my kids and you my wife. You ain't sending my kids nowhere because you're going to do what I tell you. And sometimes it don't make no difference whether it's something that you want to do or not. You're going to do what I tell you. Otherwise, you can get the stepping or you're going to get your butt cut off, because I'm going to protect what's mine. You ain't going to have me in no foolishness. Have me going against the Most High. And it took for my daughter to grow all the way up and get in college, and was at a college party and went and locked herself in the bathroom and called my wife, called my sweetie pie, and my sweetie pie had to go get him, because she said, now I see, my daddy had told us this so many years ago when we was kids. Used to always say, watch out for them girls, watch out for them girls. She said, Mom, I can't believe it, but can you please come and get us, because we can't be a part of this. And the girls in there fondling each other and licking on each other and all that stuff. And she went and locked herself in the bathroom. I never will forget it. And see, what people don't understand, you're still listening to the same serpent. You're still falling for the same okie-doke. You see? And it's even more crazy when it comes to the gay dudes. Because that's pure wickedness. On one minute, you want to be a woman. You want to act like a woman. You want to try to dress, but you know you can't be a woman. And so when somebody come to deal with you about being a woman and being a sissy and all that, now you want to be a dude again. You ready to fight. You ready to do this. Well, you know what? I ain't going to hold nothing. I got a couple of slugs for any of you jokers that's like that. Because you don't step to no real men. No real men. And the problem is that we won't accept our personal accountability that God has toward each other. And so we have so much conflict and blame with each other that the family structure falls apart and the children are just left all out there. That's why they're being killed in the street. My people are perished. My people are murdered because they lack knowledge. But it's not because the knowledge ain't available. Because you have rejected knowledge, God said, I'll reject you. And because you reject my law or my standard or my instruction, I reject your children. And you'll be no priest to me. You're supposed to be a priest to your home. But because you can't get along with each other, because you won't look at your own personal accountability to the Most High, you can't be no priest. And God gonna reject your children because you can't stay together. And your children gonna be out there with no instruction because the mother is gone one way, partying and kicking it and hanging out. And then the daddy is in the penitentiary or out there dealing his drugs or something like that. And then the kid is just out there wondering. And the enemy knows that this is devouring season. He said, well, I can just keep killing them because the mama ain't around, the daddy ain't around, and they just leaving them out here to me. So ain't no need. And then you got the news. You come out and you march. You got a bunch of homosexuals and lesbians that's filling the streets up there like they genuinely care about what's happening, but they don't care enough to to change their wicked ways and keep the family together. They don't care that much. So you know, it's what it is, man. So it's what it is. It's what it is. Yeah. So it's what it is. So that's what we better work on. And we want to commend all of our brothers and sisters, all of our married couples, our men that have husbands, and our women, our men that have wives, and our women that have husbands. We want to commend y'all. We want to commend y'all. And I think that the Most High is pleased with that. And he is completely ashamed with everybody else. Every woman that don't have a husband that's getting her little twat or all changed, the Most High is ashamed of you. Every man that don't have a wife, that he's using some woman for his own personal trash receptacle, the Most High is ashamed of you. He is ashamed of you. And man, when you bring a parent shame, they eventually gonna pull out a belt and start whooping your butt. So all the brothers and sisters that are walking together in marriage, it's difficult, it's gangster work, it's not easy. You see, you're a married couple, but you're two complete individuals who think different, got their own way of doing things, and you got to practice these things on a daily basis. And no matter what happens, you're finding a way to stay together. Man, the Most High is so pleased with you. He's so pleased with you. But to marriage is honorable at all, and the bed is undefiled. For whoremongers and adulterers, God gonna judge them. Because if marriage is honorable and all and the bed is undefiled, then that means that when you're not married, that the bed is defiled. And when you're in a defiled bed, it's like dumping a garbage truck full of trash into that bed. And it's defiled spiritually. You can't see the garbage in there, but it's in there. You can't see the AIDS, but it's in the defiled bed. You can't see crabs, but it's in the defiled bed. You can't see syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia. You can't see none of these venereal diseases, but it's in that defiled bed. If you fornicating and you ain't got a wife, you ain't got a husband, and you think that a condom gonna protect you, ain't no condom gonna protect you from crabs. Because crabs ain't got to deal with your head or your penis. Them crabs, they going to get all up in that hair and cause the itching and scratching. And many brothers and sisters out here right now, they know what I'm talking about. And you a sister and you crawling up into a defiled bed and you come out with leaky substance and yeast infections and you got a stench to you and now you don't even smell good. The cootie is just rotten. That's because you climbing into a defiled bed, baby. And this is what you got to look forward to. You see? Because whoremongers and adulterers, the Most High is going to judge. And you say you love your children, but do you love your children enough to have a good relationship with the one that fathered them? You say you love your children. Do you love your children enough to climb over the indifferences between what you call your baby's mama or your ex-wife? Do you love the Most High, or you love your children enough? You love your children enough to start letting that unification be exemplified itself in this world, regardless to whether you've been married or whether you've been divorced. Do you love your children? Do you love the Most High that much? Do you love him that much? So you Hebrew brothers is the same way. Same way. Well, they say in the last days, 7 women gonna take hold of 1 man, but you ain't learned how to love one yet. You got children out there before you came into Hebrew Israelite heritage. What about them? Ain't them your wives too? Ain't them your wives too? When you look at all the women that you have laid down with over the years, ain't them your wives too? Ain't them children your children too? So when we start dealing with the scripture, we expect people to get mad, but they ain't getting mad at me. You get mad at the Most High, and that's why your life gonna be in the condition that it is in. And you brothers that got good wives and you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, you know what? I'll make a video next year and that marriage will be dissolved. You sisters that got good husbands, you know your husbands is good. You know they ain't perfect, but every time you turn around, you ain't got nothing good to say. You're always looking at small things. You're always so concerned about your own self to where you all just wreaking havoc all over the house. No peace, no. You know what? We'll make a video next year. You won't have no husband. You'll be by yourself. So, peace and blessings on all of you.